Okay, so I have another example of a for loop. There's a slight twist on this one though. Instead of beginning to print a set amount of characters, we're going with the green shamrock this time. Instead of doing like 5,000, 10,000, we'll let the user decide how many. So I already tested the program, how many shamrocks. I entered 50 and I got 50 shamrocks. I'll run it again. I'll go with 5,000. And there are the 5,000 shamrocks. This weirdness here is just an online GDB thing because this is a remote compiler, like it's being compiled on a server somewhere. And I think sometimes the characters kind of get lost over the transmission over the internet. So that's not a problem. Okay, so anyway, let's recall the essentials of counter-controlled repetition. We have the counter variable. We have the loop condition and the increment, and we'll find all of these in the loop header for the for loop. Okay, now it starts out with just I have a variable called user num, and that's going to store the user's number, the 50, the 5,000, however many shamrocks they want. And so just basic C out, C in to get that, prompt the user and get that input. Now here's the twist. When we code the loop, I'm using the for loop. I have my loop counter. I've called it Z. Okay, you can call your loop counter anything you want. I called it counter in the first video because it was our first time. I wanted you to see that was the counter, but you can't really get too comfortable with any one variable name. So I'm going to be mixing it up. I just went with little z. It's common. Normally I tell students to avoid single letter variable names, A, B, C, X, Y, Z, but loop counters are different. It's just a little integer. It's almost like a little throwaway variable. We see it there. We know it's the loop counter. You know, it doesn't have to be descriptive in any way or, you know, make your code self-documenting. So single letter variable names are very common for loop counters. So anyway, we're starting our loop counter Z at 1. Now here's the important part. Instead of hard coding a number, like in the last video, I hard-coded a 5,000 there, but here I'm just putting the user num, okay, because that'll give us the upper limit of how many times the loop is going to run. So if the user enters 5, we're going to keep going while Z is less than or equal to 5. That'll get 5 shamrocks, okay? If the user enters 1,000,000, then we're going to keep looping until, you know, we get a 1,000,000 shamrocks. So that's really the twist here in this program, is not hard coding an ending value, but rather kind of leaving the door open a little bit and getting the number from the user. And then we have the third essential here, which is the increment. So that's it. I also have added the curly braces, even though I don't need them. This is a single statement loop body. But still, we talked about that in the last video. It really can't hurt to just add those.